Tonight's congressional hearing just blew the lid off the sanctuary city crisis. What unfolded in that chamber tells a story of chaos, obstruction, and a system pushed to its breaking point, from a congresswoman's explosive detention center confrontation to mayors and judges actively undermining federal law. The testimony left even seasoned committee members shaken, but it's what happened at Delaney Hall that really shows how dangerous his sanctuary rebellion has become. And as President Trump's big, beautiful bill aims to end this crisis once and for all, we're about to show you why this hearing could change everything. So keep watching. And just like our law enforcement officers need peak performance, so do you. But here's what they don't tell you. One common health food could be sabotaging your testosterone levels right now. The team behind Test Boost Max has seen it happen to thousands of men. But once they removed that one food and added Test Boost Max 8 powerful ingredients, natural ingredients, they start building muscle, losing fat, and feeling alive again. You want to know what that testosterone-killing food is and how to fix it? Visit sculptnation.com/NNN. You'll find a link below this video, and what you'll find there is a free video. So check it out. All right. Woke chaos meets the crackdown, the ICE crackdown showdown. From courthouse melees to sanctuary rebellions, Trump team vowing law and order supremacy while radicals cry foul. Witness the evidence, the clashes, the victims, and the heroes. We're breaking it all down for you. The woke days are over. Trump erupts after Representative McIver's detention center shove fest. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over. His impromptu gaggle sets a tone for the big, beautiful border funding and mass deportation flights. Let's go to the president.
Crap are over. Oh, give me a break. Did you see her? She was out of control. Those days are over. The days of woke. The days of woke. No, I didn't. The days of woke are over. That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order. Oh, give me a...
It's over. Judge cuffing the mayor. Democrat rails that Trump's Department of Injustice arrested a Milwaukee judge, and New York's mayor calling it intimidation, yet uncut video shows charges tied to ICE obstruction, not politics. The narrative war escalates in committee halls.
Without objection.
Thank y'all for coming, and you may be seated. And let the record reflect, Mr. Chairman, the vast number of people who came in support of Representative McIver.
Without objection.
The Trump administration has weaponized justice, using the Department of Injustice to carry forward an assault on liberty. Trump has threatened and intimidated a number of lawyers and powerful law firms into submission. He has put powerful institutions of higher learning under his thumb, and he has forced powerful media companies to bow down and kiss his ring. Now he's threatening and trying to intimidate his adversaries in elective office. Last month, Trump's Department of Injustice arrested a female judge doing her job at the courthouse in Milwaukee. They then arrested the mayor of Newark, in the same city that he leads. And now, yesterday, they have filed charges against a member of the House of Representatives. And today, we are engaged in a pre-planned hearing entitled, quote, examining threats to ICE operations, end quote, while producing a highly prejudicial, expertly edited video published to taint the jury pool and shape a false narrative on Representative McIver's actions. MAGA Republicans are using this hearing to justify the charges against her. And in support of the charges, they publish more video that demonizes people being held in private, for-profit ICE detention facilities. What is really happening is that Trump and his MAGA enablers are misusing their positions of power to prosecute people who refuse to lay down and get run over as they assault our liberties.
Oh, man, you gotta love it. The spin machine is roaring. Democrat allies claim Congresswoman's tour was benign oversight. Tom Homan counters. 6 camera angles prove she shoved agents and crossed a line.
There's a proper way to do it. Well, look, they have a right to be there for oversight, but there's a proper way to do it. Forcing your way in the facility, putting hands on an ICE officer is not a way to do it. So I think she was out of line. I've seen the videotape. I've seen 6 or 7 different videotapes that show her acting unprofessionally. These are the same people who, for 4 years, are saying President Trump wasn't above the law. Well, either is she. There's a line you can't cross, and I think she crossed it. Now, I'll leave it up to Alina Habba, the prosecutor who's handling this case, to prove the case, but the video makes it clear to me that she wasn't being professional that day. She certainly didn't act like a member of Congress. She certainly could have requested a tour. They give tours all the time, and if she got the tour, and many people have had the tour since, they've seen a grade A facility, the highest detention standards in the industry, that puts to shame any facility, county or state, that New Jersey has. So it was I think it was politics over public safety. That's a facility where the worst of the worst are housed. We can't lose control of that facility. But her actions cause a ruckus at that facility and makes that facility unsafe. Well, look, they have a right to...
Made the facility unsafe. Chaos blocks care. Witness recounts protesters forming a human wall around Delaney Hall, blocking an ambulance and endangering detainee and officer lives while Mayor Baraka was led away in cuffs. This isn't speech, it's reckless force. Proof activism can kill.
What occurred at Delaney Hall in Newark recently was not civil disobedience, it was chaos. I've seen this before in New York. I personally witnessed a high-profile arrest spiral into pandemonium when protesters, misinformed and misled, physically blocked a medically necessary EMS transfer. They endangered the detainee's life, the officer's life, the general public's life, and ICE personnel. The Newark protest, which led to the arrest of sitting Mayor Ras Baraka, echoed that same recklessness. These actions just don't disrupt operations. They escalate risk, threaten lives, and turn lawful enforcement into a spectacle. Protest is a constitutional right. With interfering with lawful enforcement is not. What occurred at the
Sanctuary state surge. ICE veteran testifies. Governors now order cops to ignore detainers. Judges sneak felons out back doors, and even members of Congress are joining in the obstruction. It's gotten so bad, nothing surprises me anymore, he warns the stunned chamber.
New Jersey, Denver, but that's exactly what's happening around the country, isn't it?
Yes, sir. In my home state of New Jersey, that's fact.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere. New Jersey, Denver, Boston, you name it. It's happening. And did you ever think you'd see governors and state legislatures do the same thing and say, you know what, our whole darn state is going to be a sanctuary state. Don't work with ICE when they're coming to enforce the law. Did you ever think you'd see that?
No, sir.
Did you ever think you would see judges in their chambers tell the bad guy, hey, talk to his lawyer, hey, slip out the back door because the ICE agents are coming in the front door to enforce federal law? Did you ever think you'd see that?
No, sir.
And did you ever think you would see what happened last week or 2 weeks ago, I should say, in New Jersey? Did you ever think you'd see members of Congress engage in that kind of behavior?
Sir, after what I witnessed in 2018, yes, in New York City, I didn't put it past anybody, but I find that behavior to be absurd.
Well, in other words, Mr. McCall, it's gotten so bad, nothing surprises you now with what the left's going to do.
Nothing, sir.
I know. And that's where the American people are. And that's why they appreciate what the Trump administration is doing. Why is it better to arrest people at the jails or at the courthouse, Mr. Mikowski, than it is out on the street? Why is that better?
I believe my colleague had touched on it, but it's much safer for the alien, the person involved, and it's also safer for the general public. Most importantly, the officers. The rule of thumb is safety
it's
first.
Safer for everyone, but that's exactly what's happening around the country, isn't it?
Safety first. Beds save lives. Delaney Hall's 1,000 new beds cage MS-13 killers. GOP says expansion, bankrolled by the big, beautiful bill, keeps predators off the streets. The left brands it a for-profit captivity. Safety versus slogans reaches a fever pitch as the House vote nears.
facility here in Newark, New Jersey, and they turned that ambulance away.
The detention facility holds members of MS-13, murderers, arsonists, drug traffickers, American killers.
We want freedom. Free our people. This is sacred ground. Free our people. This is not a legal facility.
On May 1st, Delaney Hall, a 1,000-bed detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, was officially reopened. It houses illegal aliens charged with crimes like rape, murder, burglary, and weapons offenses. Facilities like Delaney Hall are desperately needed to help prevent dangerous criminal aliens from remaining on our streets, on your streets. The reopening of Delaney drastically expanded ICE's detention capacity in the Northeast and enhanced the agency's ability to manage the increasing number of enforcement and removal operations of illegal aliens in our country. Let me be very clear. Delaney Hall is not the problem. Delaney Hall is part of the solution. The real problem is the radical left-wing agenda that sides with criminals over citizens, activists over agents, and chaos over common sense. To the men and women of ICE, this committee has your back. To the communities of New Jersey and the Northeast and the United States of America, we will not let your safety become a political casualty. And to the American people, we hear you. We hear you loud and clear. You want a country that protects its citizens. You want a system that upholds the law. And you want a government that chooses order, not anarchy. That's exactly what House Republicans are fighting for. And I promise you, we will win this fight against left-wing chaos.
Victims, not stats. Witness lists. Sex offender Jorge Sanchez Luna, fugitive, I don't know, like reading that. Lopez Reyes, among hundreds now held in Newark, asking critics, whose side are you on? Families of victims applaud as names and sentences roll across the committee scenes.
Was it to free Jorge Luis Sanchez Luna, a Mexican national who is a registered sex offender who sexually assaulted his own daughter? Or was it Lopez Reyes, a Mexican national who's wanted in Mexico? They want him back in Mexico. He's a fugitive for the offense of raping a child, raping a minor. There are hundreds of other awful, horrible individuals like these men currently being arrested in New Jersey, and they're being held at Delaney Hall.
God. Encounters collapse fast. Committee grills former ICE chief who insisted deterrence impossible. Stats now show 95% drop, a 15-year low under Trump. Exposing Biden-era apologists. The only defense, the border secure. Laughter erupts.
You were chief of staff. Thank you for holding this hearing today on what I believe to be one of the most, probably the most important issue that our country faces right now, which is illegal immigration. Mr. Hauser, I've got a few questions for you. You were chief of staff for ICE, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What years were you there?
2021 to 2023.
So that was during the Biden administration, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. So presumably you're well-versed in border security and immigration enforcement, is that right?
Yes, sir. I would say that I'm very aware. I also worked at CBP under the Obama administration. Yes, sir.
Got it. So you've got a lot of experience there. I'm going to ask you a few questions. In an interview with the Daily Blast on February 28th, 2024, you mentioned, quote, "You can't deter and punish your way to lowering encounters at the border," end quote. Do you think you were right or wrong about that?
100%, sir. What we've seen...
100% what? Right or wrong?
100% I was correct.
You were correct about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The idea that you just dismantle an immigration system is not... There was a mandate To the Trump administration.
Illegal alien border encounters are down 95% right now. I think you were wrong about that. You also said, quote, the idea that you can turn off the border is just not factual. Do you think that was right or wrong?
Sir, the threats that we're still seeing across the border.
Do you think you were right or wrong about that statement?
What's that, sir?
My question is, were you right or wrong about that statement?
When you turn off the
off
immigration system, sir, yes, you will not see encounters. Yes.
Well, southwestern border encounters are at a 15-year low under President Trump. Another thing that you mentioned, quote, just shutting off the border to asylum seekers is not going to do that, meaning close the border. What I think is going to do that is make it more erratic and sporadic for the sort of large surges of migrants you would see coming across the border. Do you think that was right or wrong?
100% correct. It was correct, sir. We're going to see that over the next couple of years.
Border apprehensions are down now because President Trump has secured our border. He's stopped the flow of illegal aliens coming across our border and coming to our border. Do you think that we have a better or worse border situation now than we did under Joe Biden?
Sir, I believe the border is secure.
You believe the border is secure, that's right. But you were wrong about a lot of other things, about what would secure the border, is that right?
No, sir, it's only been 100 days.
You were wrong about what it would take to stop the flow of illegal aliens coming into the United States. You were wrong that secure enforcement that we're seeing under President Trump would stop the flow of illegal aliens. You ought to keep that in mind as you're going to the media and mouthing off about the president.
Can I answer that question?
Thank you for holding.
Chaos by design. Opening statement details how Biden's wall halt and Remain in Mexico repeal unleash cartels, fentanyl, and violent crime. Collapse wasn't an accident. It was ideology over enforcement.
Shows chaos. The open southwest border created a drug crisis, a human smuggling crisis, and a violent crime crisis. Unfortunately, none of this was by accident. It happened because the Biden-Harris administration chose chaos over control, ideology over enforcement of the law, and politics over the American people. The numbers just don't show a crisis. They show a full-scale collapse of our sovereignty, our security, and the very idea that a nation without borders is still a nation at all. The worst part of it all is that it just didn't happen. It was designed. On day one of his presidency, the Biden-Harris administration canceled border wall construction. Day one. It gutted the Remain in Mexico policy. It abused immigration patrol authorities to release hundreds, thousands of illegal aliens into our communities. It virtually stopped enforcing immigration laws on the interior of the United States, which resulted in more than a 60% increase in ICE arrests during the first few months of the administration. The open southwest border created a drug crisis.
Numbers tell the story. Since Trump's restart, 135,000 criminal illegals deported, 232,000 pounds of drugs seized, MS-13 kingpins jailed. Hearing warns that sanctuary cities still sabotage the ops, but momentum is undeniable.
And the FBI and already his administration has deported over 135,000 criminal illegal aliens. CFPB and Coast Guard have seized 232,000 pounds of drugs at our southern border, and the FBI has arrested suspected MS-13 gang members, including high-ranking members in New York and Virginia. That's what enforcing our immigration laws looks like. That's what the president campaigned on. He's doing exactly what he said. And it all happened without any help from the other side. Rather than seeking to protect the people they represent, they're fighting for criminal illegal aliens to stay in this country. Now think about this too. First, it was sanctuary cities, local officials saying, we're not going to help ICE enforce federal law. Even when they get a detainer, they let them out of the jail when they're trying to come apprehend them. People have been in there. We had the situation in Denver where the illegal alien was in for auto theft, charged with auto theft, aggravated assault, and they said, we're not going to release him to ICE. ICE had sent a detainer saying, give us 48 hours, heads up. They gave him 40 minutes. They had to arrest the guy in the parking lot, and an ICE agent gets injured. They had to tase. It was bad for the migrant, bad for the law enforcement, and dangerous to the public. But that's what left-wing policies do. Sanctuary cities, then it was sanctuary states, whole states, sanctuary states, and saying we're not going to work with federal law enforcement. Then it was judges letting the bad guy out the back door while the good guys are coming in the front door to arrest him. And now we find out it could even be members of Congress. That's what we saw at Delaney Hall a couple weeks ago. It wasn't congressional oversight. ICE has an important job to do, and God bless the men and women who serve in ICE. And already his...
Follow the real news. If this thread armed you against the media spin, smash follow and stand front row with Gary in the Next News Network. We wield White House hard pass creds, grill officials, and drop the receipts. And there's yours truly at the White House. So, what else have we got here? We got this. This was posted just 3 hours ago. Tom Homan.
Manner, and she claims she was there on oversight. We open facilities to oversight every day across this country. There are, all you have to do is show up to the facility in a professional manner and request a visit. Go through screening and go see it. We are proud of that facility. I want everybody to go look at it. Maybe all the false narrative will stop about how ICE's detention standards are just so terrible. But she put hands, she shoved an officer, she put hands on her officer. That's unacceptable. These ICE officers, and when you cause a ruckus like that, then that makes that facility unsecure, because officers who should be dealing with the prisoners, very serious prisoners, criminals in that facility, they're dealing with the ruckus outside. It makes the facility unsafe. It's unsafe for the officers. It is unsafe for the general public. We take the security of those facilities very seriously. She knows how to do oversight. She go there and request to look at it. Don't barge your way in. And regardless of what happens, you don't put hands and you don't shove an ICE officer who's there to protect the facility and protect the public from the people in that facility.
Yeah, there's protocol, and she clearly did not follow that protocol. U.S. Attorney Elena Haba charged Congresswoman McIver with violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 111A1 for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. Yes, U.S. Attorney Haba is on the case. Juanita Broderick says, lock her up. Hope she has to wear orange. U.S. Attorney Haba charging Representative LaMonica McIver with assaulting and impeding and interfering. Mike Davis is Representative Swalwell obstructing justice by threatening a U.S. attorney for bringing federal charges? He says Swalwell says, a red line has been crossed. Trump is prosecuting his political enemies in Congress. This is just the beginning. We must take whatever we've done before to show dissent and go one rung higher. And save your BS documents on this, Elena. You'll need them when you testify. Wow. That's Representative Eric Swalwell. So what unfolded in that hearing room exposes the true cost of sanctuary policies. As testimony revealed the scope of obstruction nationwide, from detention center confrontations to judges helping felons escape, the numbers paint a very clear picture. 135,000 criminal aliens removed, drug seizures soaring, and MS-13 kingpins behind bars. But the bigger questions remain. How many more officials will choose politics over public safety, like Eric Swalwell? When governors order police to ignore detainers and local leaders block enforcement, who pays the price? And most importantly, what happens now that Congress has seen the full scope of the crisis? The battle lines are drawn. So where do you stand? Share your thoughts below. And visit shop.nextnewsnetwork.com to check out the latest merch and show the world where you stand with the real news.